I, 28M, met my fiancée Natalie, 26F, during our sophomore year of college. We were both majoring in business administration at State University, a school known for its competitive program. I remember the first day I saw her in our microeconomics class. She was this petite brunette with striking green eyes, sitting in the front row, furiously taking notes. I was instantly drawn to her focus and determination. It took me a few weeks to work up the courage to talk to her. We were assigned to the same group for a project, and that's when I discovered her contagious laugh and sharp wit. Natalie was smart, ambitious, and had a great sense of humor that matched my own. We started hanging out more, first for study sessions, then for coffee, and eventually for dates. Natalie came from a family of 4 kids. She was the second oldest. Her older sister, Vanessa, 29F, had graduated a year before we started college and was already working as a marketing executive at a local firm. The younger siblings, twins Rachel, 22F, and Ryan, 22M, were still in high school when we met. Their parents, David, 54M, and Maria, 52F, owned a successful chain of bakeries in our city. I came from a more modest background. My parents divorced when I was young, and I was raised by my mom, a high school teacher. I worked part-time jobs throughout high school and college to help with expenses. This difference in our backgrounds never seemed to matter to Natalie, which I always appreciated. Our college years were a whirlwind of classes, part-time jobs, and stolen moments together. We'd study late into the night, quizzing each other and dreaming about our future careers. Natalie always talked about working for a big marketing firm, while I was more interested in the tech industry. We supported each other through tough exams, internships, and the stress of final year job hunting. After graduation, I landed a job at Technova, a promising startup in the city. The hours were long, but the pay was good, and I loved the fast-paced environment. Natalie, on the other hand, struggled to find a job in her field. Despite her excellent grades and internship experience, the job market was tough. She ended up working as a barista at Java Jolt, a local coffee shop chain, while applying for positions related to her degree. I tried to be supportive during this time, knowing how frustrated Natalie was. I'd help her tweak her resume, practice interview questions with her, and comfort her after each rejection. But as months passed, I could see her becoming more discouraged and bitter. She'd often make comments about how I couldn't understand because I had a great job. It stung, but I tried to be patient. About a year into our careers, I decided to propose. I'd been saving up for months, picking up extra shifts at Technova and cutting back on expenses. I planned a weekend getaway to Sunset Beach, a place we'd always talked about visiting. I proposed at sunrise on our second day there, down on one knee in the sand. Natalie was overjoyed, and for a moment, all her job frustrations seemed forgotten. We dove into wedding planning, discussing venues, guest lists, and color schemes. Natalie seemed happier than she had in months. But as we got deeper into the planning, her job situation began to weigh on her again. She'd make offhand comments about how she couldn't afford the wedding dress she wanted, or how embarrassing it would be to tell people she was a barista at our wedding. I suggested we postpone the wedding until she found a job she was happy with, but this only upset her more. She accused me of not being committed, of looking for an excuse to back out. Our arguments became more frequent and intense. I felt like I was walking on eggshells, never sure what might set her off. Finally, after months of searching and countless rejections, Natalie landed an entry-level position at Market Mind, a respected marketing firm in the city. She was ecstatic, and I was genuinely happy for her. The job seemed perfect, good pay, room for growth, and in her field of interest. I hoped this would be the turning point for us, that we could get back to the happy couple we once were. However, I soon noticed that Natalie was working late more often than not. She'd come home exhausted, barely talking to me before crashing into bed. At first, I chalked it up to the demands of a new job. I'd bring her dinner at the office, offer to give her massages to help her relax, but she often brushed me off, saying she was too busy or too tired. As weeks turned into months, I started to feel a growing distance between us. Natalie was always too tired to go out, too busy to plan the wedding, and too stressed to have meaningful conversations. When I tried to talk to her about it, she'd brush me off, saying I was being clingy and unsupportive. She'd remind me of how I was always busy when I first started at Technova, implying I was being hypocritical. Then came the business trip. Natalie told me she had to go to New York for a week-long conference with her team. I offered to drop her off at the airport, but she insisted on taking a cab, saying she had to leave very early. Something felt off about the way she avoided eye contact when she told me about the trip, but I tried to push my doubts aside. During that week, Natalie's communication was sporadic at best. She'd send a quick text in the morning and maybe call for a few minutes at night, always sounding rushed. When I expressed concern, she'd say she was swamped with meetings and networking events. I tried to be understanding, remembering how hectic business trips could be. The day before she was supposed to return, I decided to surprise her by cleaning the apartment and preparing a nice dinner. While dusting her desk, I accidentally knocked over a stack of papers. As I was picking them up, a receipt fell out of a folder. It was for a hotel in Miami, dated for the week she was supposed to be in New York. My heart sank. I spent the next few hours going through her drawers and computer, finding more evidence of her lies. There were emails between her and her boss, Mark, 38M, planning their getaway and discussing how to keep it secret from me and the rest of the office. There were hidden photos of them together, looking far too cozy for a professional relationship. I even found a draft of an email to me, full of excuses and lies about why she needed to extend her New York trip by a few days. I was devastated. The woman I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with had been lying to me for months. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. I called in sick to work, unable to face anyone or anything. When Natalie came home the next day, I confronted her with the evidence. She broke down, admitting to the affair and begging for forgiveness. She claimed it was a mistake, that she got caught up in the excitement of her new job and the attention from her charismatic boss. She said it didn't mean anything, that she still loved me and wanted to marry me. I couldn't believe a word she said. The trust was completely shattered. I told her to pack her things and leave. She cried and pleaded, promising to break things off with Mark, to quit her job, to do anything to make it right. But I stood my ground. I called her sister Vanessa to come pick her up, not wanting to deal with her any longer than necessary. When Vanessa arrived, she was shocked and angry at Natalie's behavior. She apologized to me profusely, saying she had no idea her sister was capable of such betrayal. As Natalie gathered her things, Vanessa stayed to talk with me, offering support and a sympathetic ear. She shared that Natalie had always been the golden child in their family, the one everyone expected great things from. She wondered aloud if the pressure to succeed had pushed Natalie to make such poor choices. Over the next few weeks, I threw myself into work, trying to distract myself from the pain. My colleagues at Technova were understanding, giving me space when I needed it and including me in after-work activities to keep me from isolating myself completely. Vanessa checked in on me regularly, bringing food and offering to help with anything I needed. We started spending more time together, initially just as friends, but slowly, something more began to develop. Now, 3 months after discovering Natalie's betrayal, I'm in a much better place. I've called off the engagement, obviously, and I'm in the process of selling the ring. Vanessa and I have started dating, and while it's still early, I feel happier and more secure than I ever did with Natalie. Vanessa is straightforward and honest, traits I've come to value even more after what happened with Natalie. Natalie has tried to contact me multiple times, sending lengthy emails and leaving tearful voicemails. I've blocked her on everything and made it clear through her parents that I want no contact with her. Last I heard, she lost her job at Market Mind when the affair came to light, and she's moved back in with her parents. Part of me feels bad for her, remembering the ambitious, driven woman I fell in love with in college. But a larger part of me is still too hurt and angry to care. I know some people might judge me for dating Natalie's sister, but Vanessa has been an incredible support through all of this. She's honest, caring, and respects my boundaries. We're taking things slow and communicating openly about our feelings and concerns. We both know the situation is complicated, and we're prepared for potential backlash from family and friends. I'm still processing everything that happened, but I'm hopeful for the future. If there's one thing I've learned from this experience, it's that sometimes the person you thought was the one isn't, and love can come from unexpected places. I don't know what the future holds for me and Vanessa, but for now, I'm just grateful to have her in my life. Update 1. It's been about 2 months since my last post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. It really helped me navigate through this difficult time. First off, my relationship with Vanessa, 29F, has been going well. We've been taking things slow, as we're both aware of the complicated situation. We've had many long conversations about our feelings, our fears, and our hopes for the future. Vanessa has been incredibly patient and understanding, never pushing me to move faster than I'm comfortable with. One of the things I appreciate most about Vanessa is her honesty. She's been open about her own reservations and concerns about our relationship. She admitted that she had always had a bit of a crush on me, even when I was with Natalie, but she never acted on it out of respect for her sister. This level of transparency has been refreshing after the deceit I experienced with Natalie. We've also been working on establishing our own identities as a couple, separate from the drama with Natalie. We've been trying new activities together. We joined a rock climbing gym and have been taking cooking classes. It's been nice to create new memories and inside jokes that have nothing to do with our complicated past. However, not everything has been smooth sailing. About a month ago, Natalie, 26F, showed up at my apartment unannounced. It was a Friday night, and Vanessa and I had just finished dinner and were settling in to watch a movie. Suddenly, there was loud banging on my door. When I opened it, Natalie stumbled in, clearly drunk. She started making a scene in the hallway, crying and begging me to take her back. The smell of alcohol was overwhelming, and her makeup was smeared all over her face. I refused to let her in further and called Vanessa for help. Vanessa was in the bathroom when Natalie arrived, and I didn't want her to have to deal with this alone. By the time Vanessa came out, Natalie had slumped down against my door, sobbing uncontrollably. She was alternating between apologizing profusely and accusing me of never really loving her. It was heartbreaking and infuriating all at once. Seeing the two sisters together was surreal. Vanessa tried to calm Natalie down, speaking to her softly and trying to get her to stand up. But when Natalie realized Vanessa had come from inside my apartment, she flew into a rage. She started screaming at both of us, calling us traitors and saying we'd betrayed her. She accused Vanessa of always being jealous of her and trying to steal her life. The commotion attracted the attention of my neighbors. Mrs. Johnson from across the hall poked her head out, asking if everything was okay. I apologized for the disturbance, feeling mortified. Vanessa and I tried to get Natalie to lower her voice, but she was beyond reason at this point. Eventually, we had to call their parents, David, 54M, and Maria, 52F, to come and take Natalie home. While we waited, Natalie alternated between crying and yelling. She revealed that she had been fired from her job at her parents' bakery for showing up drunk, and that the guy she had been seeing had broken up with her. It was clear she was spiraling. When David and Maria arrived, they were mortified by Natalie's behavior and apologized profusely to me. I could see the pain and disappointment in their eyes. They've always treated me like a son, and I know this situation is tearing their family apart. David had to practically carry Natalie to the car, while Maria stayed behind to talk to us. Maria expressed her concern about Natalie's drinking and asked if we knew how long this had been going on. We honestly didn't know. She then hesitantly asked about my relationship with Vanessa. I could tell she was trying to be supportive, but was struggling with the idea of her daughters essentially switching places in my life. It was an uncomfortable conversation, to say the least. The incident left me shaken. I started having doubts about my relationship with Vanessa, wondering if we were doing the right thing. Was it worth causing so much drama and pain? Was I just rebounding from Natalie with the nearest available person? Vanessa sensed my hesitation and suggested we take a short break to clear our heads. She said she understood if I needed space or even if I wanted to end things. I spent the next week thinking long and hard about what I wanted. I went on long walks, talked to my mom and my closest friends, and did a lot of soul searching. I realized that despite the complications, my feelings for Vanessa were genuine. She had been my rock through this whole ordeal, and I couldn't imagine my life without her now. When we met up again, I told Vanessa how I felt. I said I wanted to continue our relationship, but we needed to be prepared for more family drama. She agreed, and we decided to be more open about our relationship instead of trying to hide it. We also agreed to set some boundaries. For example, we wouldn't discuss Natalie unless absolutely necessary, and we'd try to keep our relationship separate from family gatherings for the time being. We had dinner with David and Maria to discuss the situation. It was awkward at first, but they were surprisingly supportive. They said that while they loved both their daughters, they couldn't condone Natalie's actions and they didn't blame us for finding happiness together. They did ask that we be sensitive about flaunting our relationship in front of Natalie, which we agreed was fair. As for Natalie, she's still living with her parents. I heard from Rachel, 22F, the younger sister, that Natalie has started seeing a therapist to work through her issues. Apparently, the therapist suggested that Natalie might have been using the affair and alcohol to self-sabotage due to feelings of inadequacy and fear of success. Part of me hopes she gets the help she needs, but another part of me is still too hurt to care. Work has been a welcome distraction through all of this. I recently got promoted to senior project manager at Technova, which has kept me busy and focused on something positive. My team is working on a new app that could really shake up the industry, and I'm excited to be leading the project. Vanessa has been incredibly supportive of my career, always ready with encouragement or a listening ear when I need to vent about a tough day. Vanessa's career has been going well too. She recently landed a big client for her marketing firm and has been putting in long hours to make sure everything goes smoothly. We've been learning to balance our busy careers with our relationship, making sure to set aside quality time for each other even when work gets hectic. Looking ahead, Vanessa and I are planning a weekend getaway next month. We both feel like we need some time away from all the family drama, just to focus on us and our relationship. We're thinking of going to a little bed and breakfast in the mountains, somewhere quiet where we can hike, relax, and just enjoy each other's company. I'm actually excited about it, which is a feeling I haven't had in a long time. I know we still have a long road ahead of us. Dating your ex-fiancée's sister isn't exactly a conventional start to a relationship. But for the first time in months, I'm feeling optimistic about the future. I'll keep you all updated on how things go. Update 2. Hey everyone, it's been about 6 months since my last update, and I wanted to share what's been happening. Vanessa, 29F, and I are still together, and our relationship has only grown stronger. We moved in together 2 months ago, which was a big step for both of us. We found a cozy apartment in a quiet neighborhood, closer to both our workplaces. The process of combining our lives and belongings was both exciting and challenging. We had a few disagreements about decor and organization, but we managed to find compromises that worked for both of us. Living together has had its challenges, but overall, it's been amazing. Vanessa is incredibly thoughtful and caring, always making sure we communicate openly about any issues that come up. We've established a routine that works for both of us, sharing household chores and making time for date nights even when work gets hectic. One of the best things about living together is the simple moments we share. I love waking up next to Vanessa every morning, sharing a cup of coffee before we start our days. We often cook dinner together in the evenings, trying out new recipes and laughing at our culinary mishaps. These quiet, domestic moments have made me realize how much I truly love her. The family situation, however, has become more complicated. Natalie, 26F, found out about us moving in together and had another meltdown. This time, she showed up at our new apartment on a Sunday afternoon. We were just relaxing, watching a movie, when we heard aggressive banging on the door. When we opened it, Natalie burst in, clearly agitated and smelling of alcohol. She started screaming at us, calling us every name in the book. She accused Vanessa of always trying to steal her life, bringing up childhood incidents I'd never heard about before. Natalie then turned to me, saying I never really loved her and that I was just using her family to climb the social ladder. It was a mess of accusations and tears. We tried to calm her down, but she wasn't having it. She started grabbing things off our shelves and throwing them on the floor. When she picked up a framed photo of Vanessa and me from our recent vacation and made to smash it, I had to physically restrain her. That's when we decided we had no choice but to call the police. By the time the police arrived, Natalie had slumped to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. The officers were understanding but firm. They escorted Natalie out of the building and advised us to file for a restraining order if this behavior continued. It was a horrible experience, and it left both Vanessa and me shaken. After this incident, David, 54M, and Maria, 52F, sat down with all of us, me, Vanessa, Natalie, Rachel, 22F, and Ryan, 22M. They said they couldn't keep playing mediator and that we all needed to figure out how to coexist as a family. It was a tense meeting, to say the least. Natalie refused to even look at Vanessa and me. She sat with her arms crossed, staring at the floor for most of the conversation. When she did speak, it was to accuse us of ruining her life and say she'd never forgive us. Rachel and Ryan were clearly uncomfortable, caught in the middle of their older sister's drama. They mostly stayed quiet, only speaking up to plead for peace in the family. David and Maria tried to be impartial, but I could see the strain this was putting on them. They love all their children, and seeing their family torn apart like this was clearly breaking their hearts. In the end, we agreed to keep our distance from Natalie at family events, but it's clear that the family dynamic has been irreparably changed. On a brighter note, my career has been going well. The promotion I mentioned in my last update has led to even more opportunities. I'm now leading a team on a high-profile project at Technova. We're developing a new AI-driven platform that could revolutionize how small businesses handle their customer service. It's both exciting and challenging, pushing me to grow both as a manager and as a tech professional. There have been some late nights and stressful deadlines, but Vanessa has been my biggest cheerleader through it all. She's always ready with words of encouragement when I doubt myself, and she makes sure I remember to take breaks and take care of myself during crunch times. Vanessa's career has also taken off. She recently landed a big client for her marketing firm, a major national retail chain looking to revamp their entire digital marketing strategy. She's been working long hours to make sure everything goes smoothly, often coming home after I'm already in bed. We've had to work on balancing our time together with our busy careers, but we're figuring it out. We've started having weekly check-ins where we discuss our schedules, any concerns we have, and make plans for quality time together. As for Natalie, last I heard, she's still living with her parents and working at one of their bakeries. Rachel mentioned that Natalie's been talking about moving to a different city to get a fresh start. Part of me hopes she does. It might be easier for everyone if she had some distance. I know she's still struggling, and despite everything, I do hope she finds happiness eventually. Vanessa and I have started talking about our future more seriously. We both want to get married and have kids someday, but we're also aware of the unique challenges our relationship might face. We've agreed to take things one day at a time and not rush into anything. For now, we're focused on nurturing our relationship and our careers. Despite all the drama, I'm happier than I've been in a long time. Vanessa brings out the best in me, and I feel like we're true partners in every sense of the word. I know our situation isn't conventional, but I'm grateful for how things turned out. Life has a funny way of working out sometimes. I'll update again if anything significant happens. Thanks again for all your support and advice throughout this journey. Update 3. Hello everyone. It's been almost a year since my last update, and I wanted to share some significant developments in our lives. Vanessa, 30F now, and I, 29M, are still going strong. We've had our ups and downs, like any couple, but we've worked through them together. Our communication has only improved over time, and I feel like we understand each other on a deeper level now. The biggest news is that we're engaged. I proposed during a hike to the top of our favorite mountain trail. We'd been planning this hike for weeks, waiting for the perfect weather. The day was clear and crisp, with a light breeze that carried the scent of pine and wildflowers. As we reached the summit, the view of the valley below was breathtaking. I pretended to be setting up for a selfie, but instead, I pulled out the ring. It wasn't a grand, elaborate proposal, just us, the beautiful view, and the promise of a future together. I told Vanessa how much she meant to me, how she'd been my rock through the toughest time in my life, and how I couldn't imagine spending my life with anyone else. Vanessa was surprised but overjoyed, and of course, she said yes. We spent the rest of the day at the top of that mountain, talking about our future and simply enjoying each other's company. We decided to keep our engagement quiet for a while, wanting to enjoy it just between us before dealing with the inevitable family drama. When we finally told David, 55M, and Maria, 53F, they were happy for us but understandably concerned about how Natalie, 27F, would react. Speaking of Natalie, she did end up moving to a different city about 8 months ago. From what we've heard from Rachel, 23F, and Ryan, 23M, she's doing better. She's got a new job in marketing at a small startup and has been seeing someone for a few months now. I hope she's found some peace and happiness. We decided to tell Natalie about our engagement ourselves, rather than having her hear it from someone else. We wrote her a long email, explaining our feelings and hoping for her understanding. We acknowledged the pain our relationship must have caused her, but also expressed our hope that she could find it in her heart to be happy for us. Her response was brief but surprisingly mature. She said she needed time to process the news but that she hoped we'd be happy together. It wasn't forgiveness, exactly, but it felt like a step in the right direction. As for the wedding, we're planning something small and intimate. We don't want a big, flashy event, just our closest friends and family. We're thinking of having it at a small vineyard just outside the city, with a simple ceremony followed by a relaxed dinner. We're still figuring out how to navigate the family dynamics, but we're hopeful that everyone can be civil for one day. Career-wise, things are going well for both of us. I've been offered a position as the head of my department at Technova. It's a big step up, with more responsibility and a significant pay increase. The AI-driven platform I mentioned in my last update has been a huge success, and my role in its development was a big factor in my promotion. Vanessa's marketing firm has expanded, and she's now managing her own team. She's been instrumental in bringing in several high-profile clients, and her innovative campaigns have been getting a lot of attention in the industry. We're both busy but make sure to carve out quality time for each other. Looking back on everything that's happened over the past couple of years, it's hard to believe how much has changed. There were times when I thought I'd never be happy again, but life has a funny way of surprising you. Vanessa has been my partner, my support, and my best friend through it all. I know our story isn't conventional, and some people might not understand or approve of our relationship. But at the end of the day, we're two people who found love and happiness together, and we're committed to making it work. Thank you all for following along on this journey with me. Your support and advice have meant more than you know. Here's to the next chapter.